Just in time for tonight's news broadcast from the Nation Center. Trust your evening is coming along well as we welcome the shortest month of the year. We have a chock-full to cover in the next 60 minutes or so let us get to the first order of business, shall we? Tonight, more suspected cases of the contagious coronavirus. 3 people admitted in Nairobi and Mombasa with likely symptoms. Plus, DP Ruto slams violence at BBI rallies.
Kama ni mjadala tunafanya tuweke heshima.
The handshake project threatens to divide ruling party further.
Kuanzia next week tukifungua bunge, mimi mwenyewe nakimbia na chairman ya kitu fulani hapo. Wale wakorofi wamekuwa wakitusi rais. Wote fagia.
And coming for the pastor's church, Kenya Railways says land is theirs. Pastor Nganga denies. Also tonight, lessons from the most conceivable age. Special classes for expectant mothers in Samburu in our special feature, The Womb Classroom.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Dennis Okari.
Glad you've tuned in. Our sign language interpreter is David Agundoa. And remember, you can watch us also on our online platforms on YouTube, Twitter, and on Facebook at NTV Kenya. The Ministry of Health now says primary tests conducted on 3 people from China who are quarantined in Nairobi and Mombasa counties have turned out negative. The ministry, however, says more tests will be carried out in South Africa. 2 people with a high fever were quarantined at the Kenyatta National Hospital after landing at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport from China. Another female medical student from Southern Medical University of Guangzhou was also isolated at the Coast General Hospital. NTV's Kevin Mutai reports on efforts to control the spread of the virus that has so far killed 304 people.
According to the Mombasa County Communications Office, results from tests done by the government chemist on a patient suspected to have contracted the coronavirus turned out negative. The patient had been isolated at the Coast Provincial General Hospital and kept under strict observation. Only doctors and nurses assigned to her were allowed access to her ward. The patient is said to have started complaining of chest pains and headache and was rushed to the facility. Her blood samples were taken to Nairobi for evaluation, but health officials at the county are yet to comment on the matter. The patient is a medical student from China, where hundreds of people have been infected with the deadly virus. In Nairobi, 2 passengers who arrived in the country from China have also been quarantined at the Kenyatta National Hospital of a suspected infection with the coronavirus. More than 300 people have died since the outbreak. A majority of them are Chinese. The US, Australia, and an increasing number of other countries have barred the arrival of foreigners from China and are requiring their own citizens who have traveled from China to be quarantined. The situation has forced the national carrier Kenya Airways to temporarily suspend its flights to the Chinese city of Guangzhou following a public outcry. The airline is working with the Ministries of Health and Foreign Affairs in assessing the situation as the government appeals to Kenyans not to travel to the affected areas in China. In an effort to contain the deadly virus, Wuhan, the Chinese city of about 11 million people, has locked down thousands of foreigners, including African students. They are now trapped in the city where the virus was first detected. Reports have also indicated that at least more than 50 Kenyans are stuck in Wuhan as calls for their repatriation intensify. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
From that coronavirus update, and meanwhile, 25 people from Kapkures village in Sotik sub-county in Bomet County were rushed to the Longisa Referral Hospital following a suspected anthrax outbreak. The patients are believed to have come into contact with the carcasses of 4 animals that died in the last 3 days. According to Bomet County Director of Veterinary, Dr. Wilson Sere, samples of the carcasses have been taken for tests to ascertain if it's anthrax. The villagers are said to have developed blisters in various parts of their bodies. There are fears that the number of those seeking treatment could rise. The victims include children and the elderly. One person has died and hundreds of others have been left homeless as the heavy rains and record flood waters overwhelmed homes in several parts of the country. In Baringo, students of Ngambo Secondary School have had to find safe shelters after some of their dormitories were flooded. The students were forced to wade through flooded pools in the school compound to get around. The Ngambo Catholic Church was also enveloped in flood waters. Residents have to trudge through knee-deep waters to move from one place to another. Elsewhere, at least 300 families displaced by floods in Kakola Ombaka sublocation in Kisumu County are now staring at a humanitarian crisis. Poor sanitation, lack of proper food, and exposure to harsh weather conditions have made life at the evacuation centers unbearable, even as more people flock there to shelter from the heavy rains and the destructive floods. NTV's Okukusa has the situation in the Nyanza region.
The worst hit areas are Kasiwindi, Kalo, and Kanyipola in Nyando sub-county, where several people have been displaced.
If you go down to Kasiwindi, you cannot even access. You must use the boat. It is dire when people are suffering.
It is estimated that close to 200 houses have been submerged since last Friday.
Over 300 households has been affected, and I've directed them to go and camp on higher grounds.
The assistant chief attributes the flooding to increased water levels in Lake Victoria. Even though the villages have been known to flood from time to time, it's been close to 5 years since the area experienced a calamity of this magnitude.
Sai sijui mara ya 5 kwa maji tu peke yake, watu wanahama wanarudi, wanahama wanarudi. Juzi tunaenda kwa nyumba, ikifika wiki 2 hata skuli hakuna watu wanaenda leo.
Similar situations have been witnessed in Migori and Homa Bay counties, where scores of families were rendered homeless and property of unknown value destroyed by flood waters.
Ilianza usiku kuamkia wa leo. Sasa tukikuja kwa kazi tukapata kama mvua imejaa kwa nyumba paka hadi sufuria zimeenda. Mara tulipika usiku tutakula saa hii lunch hakuna, imeenda na maji, imesombwa na maji.
The people who were there were run away because of water was coming very fast. Kwa hivyo naomba watu wa serikali tusaidie.
Worst affected areas include Ariri, Kopondo, Riat, and Minyere villages in Homa Bay County. Local leaders want dikes constructed along River Migori to avert future flooding. Okukusa, NTV.
To politics now, the divisive BBI politics could spill over into Parliament as leaders allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga promised their Tanga counterparts a bruising battle once the House resumed session. Tiati MP William Kamket claims plans are underway to remove MPs allied to Deputy President William Ruto from key positions in the House. But Ruto, speaking in Kisii, called for tolerance, warning leaders against breeding hate and division at the expense of uniting the country. NTV's Silas Apollo reports.
As the debate on the BBI gains ground, daggers are now directed at politicians on the Tanga wing of the Jubilee Party, with the battle set to shift to Parliament. Tiati MP William Kamket claims plans are underway to rip the politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto from their planned positions in the House leadership and committees.
Tukifungua bunge, nataka kuambia rais, usibabaike, sisi tuko na wewe. Uko na wanaume kama mimi na wengine wengi, na wale wamekuwa wakichokoza rais, shauri yenu, ole wenu. Kuanzia next week tukifungua bunge, mimi mwenyewe nakimbia na chairman ya kitu fulani hapo. Wale wakorofi wamekuwa wakitusi rais, wote fagia.
But Ruto, speaking in Kisii, warned against such a move, saying it risks creating more division in the country. Ruto has instead called for tolerance, saying that everybody should be given a chance to give their opinions despite their standing in the society.
Kama ni mjadala tunafanya, tuweke heshima, tuweke ungwana, tusikize yale yanasemekana na mtu yeyote, umpendi, unampenda, kila mtu apewe nafasi ya kusema maoni yake.
The DP's comment comes hours after one of his allies, Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria, was manhandled at a BBA rally in Kitui, causing an uproar. Kuria was in the company of Senate Leader of Majority Kipchumba Murkomen, was forced down the dais with claims that he had planned to disrupt the rally.
Atolewe.
But Ruto says the politics of us versus them was unnecessary and against the spirit of the BBA, which is meant to unite the country.
Mjadala unaoendelea Kenya sio ya wanasiasa, sio ya viongozi, ni ya Wakenya wote. Hata mama mboga na makanga na mtu ya bodaboda wako na maoni, wapatiwe nafasi ya kutoa maoni yao.
South Mugirango MP Silvanus Osoro Nyego on his part says leaders from Tanga Tanga will not bow to the pressure from their Kieleweke counterparts, who they accuse of insulting and sidelining the deputy president.
We are in support of it bila vitisho. Tunasikia ya kwamba wale ambao wana support BBI wanafaa kupinga deputy president. Kwani what kind of bridge are you building?
Silas Apollo, NTV.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has embarked on what appears to be a well-orchestrated aggressive campaign to regain his political clout in the Mount Kenya region. His new strategy to woo the residents of central Kenya include offering monetary goodies to farmers as well as politically realigning the leadership in the region. But will he gain back control of a region that was warming up to Deputy President William Ruto? Seth Olale sampled some reactions from residents and political analysts.
3 years before his second and final presidential term expires, the head of state is heading back to where he began his political journey, to the top of the mountain. This time, though, he's not asking for votes, but he is hoping to win back the very support base that gave him a resounding mandate, but that has been slowly slipping from his grip.
What the president is doing today, he would have done it in 2013. The first inauguration, or if not then, he could have done it as well in 2017 when he was installed as president.
The president visited Nakuru, Nyandarua, Kirinyaga and Meru counties, where he announced a number of enticements, including improved purchase pricing of agricultural products from farmers and relaunching of development projects such as the construction of the 1.8 billion shillings Naivasha to Njabini Road in Nyandarua County and the launch of the new KCC Nambene Milk Plant in Meru County.
Ukitufikishia yale malengo litupromise wakati wa siasa kama agriculture, well, fine and good. First of all, utakuwa umeleta maendeleo. Pili, utakuwa umecheza smart politics.
Hatuoni ubaya, akiamua kuja peke yake, akuja peke yake. Sisi tulimchagua na hatuwezi tukamkataza akuje, huyo ni president wetu.
Wazo hilo tunaliunga mkono na tunaamini ya kwamba akifanya hivyo atakuwa na ushikamano na mshikamano wa moja kwa moja kati yake na wananchi waliomchagua.
Sisi tunatarajia atakuja hapa Kiambu kwa sababu hiyo ndio tulikuwa tunataka.
The president in one of the tours appeared to take a swipe at his deputy who had made some gains in the region, and to effectively deliver his message to the wider Mount Kenya region, the head of state has resorted to using his native Kikuyu language during his tours. His new game plan includes neutralizing his political opponents, most of who are allied to the deputy president and who have seemingly refused to toe the line. The head of state sounded his first warning by sacking the then agriculture cabinet secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri during a cabinet reshuffle early last month.
Ukienda upinzani tutaenda pamoja. Ukiunda serikali tutaunda pamoja.
Barely 3 weeks later, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, a strong ally of the DP, was impeached by the Senate, and Uhuru's loyalist James Nyoro was hurriedly sworn in as the Kiambu County boss.
It has gone to a level that they always get away with the propaganda.
During his tour of Nakuru County last week, Uhuru publicly criticized Bahati MP Kimani Ngunjiri, an ally of the DP, accusing him of repeatedly abusing him and misleading his constituents.
He's coming on my gate kunipiga mbele ya watoto yangu na kusema atanimaliza.
The president plans more tours of the region in what is seen as a bid to salvage his legacy and assert more authority in his own backyard. Just last week alone, the president toured 4 counties in a carefully scripted tour that saw his detractors locked out and his allies instead given prominent roles. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi County.
Televangelist James Maina Ng'ang'a has denied receiving a letter from the Kenya Railways Corporation advising him that the land on which his church stands belongs to them. Speaking to NTV on phone, the preacher said he purchased the plot that sits at the junction of Uhuru Highway and Haile Selassie on auction from the Central Bank of Kenya. Ng'ang'a, however, declined to provide any evidence to that effect and instead referred us to the Lands Registrar and County Council of Nairobi. NTV's Olive Barrows with more on the land disputes.
In June of 2011, the bulldozers came calling. Their aggression targeted at the Neno Evangelism Center that sits at the junction of the Uhuru Highway and Haile Selassie, acting on behalf of the Nairobi City Council. 8 years down the line, and once again, the bulldozers are revving to go, threatening to bring down a church rebuilt. But this time at the behest of the Kenya Railway Corporation. In a letter dated the 31st of January, Kenya Railways informs Neno Evangelism Center's founder, James Ng'ang'a, that the parcel of land on which his church stands belongs to them. The purpose of this letter is to notify you that plot LR number 2099640 encroaches on land initially reserved for railway use. Going on to require that Ng'ang'a surrenders all documents relating to the irregular allocation of the above referenced property to the corporation. But Ng'ang'a denies being in receipt of the said notification, adding that should it come into his possession, he'd challenge it in court. The preacher explained to NTV on phone that he purchased the land on auction from the Central Bank of Kenya as it disposed of the assets of a collapsed bank back in 2003. He, however, declined to share copies of the documents relating to the allocation, the same documents Kenya Railways has requested he hand over. The preacher views it as an attempt to grab the land now that he no longer enjoys the same political connections he once did. Over the years, he has, however, gained notoriety for attacks uttered both on and off the pulpit that have seen him run afoul of the law and made him the subject of derision. In 2015, he faced charges for causing a woman's death by dangerous driving on the Limuru-Naivasha highway, an accident that continues to haunt the televangelist, with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions challenging his acquittal. In April of last year, he faced charges of fraud over a parcel of land in Karen. And while he may have been out of the country the first time the bulldozers pulled up in a planning dispute with the City Council, from the pulpit on Sunday, he too put Kenya Railways on notice. Notice that he will not relinquish his hold on the property without a fight.
I swear before God, utabakisha hata mjukuu duniani hapa. Hallelujah. Semeni na iwe hivyo. Ai, kwani shida hapa na kubariki tu. Sasa tunalaani watu. Ya. No, iwesekani kila watu wakiamka wanachezea mtu wa Mungu.
Olive Barrows, NTV.
Well, to another church, at least 20 people were killed and others injured in a stampede during an outdoor religious service in Tanzania. Worshippers were attending a Pentecostal service at a stadium in the northern town of Moshi on Saturday evening when the incident occurred.
Hundreds of worshippers were attending a prayer meeting led by Boniface Mwamposa, a popular preacher who leads the Arise and Shine Ministry Tanzania. The stampede occurred when Mwamposa, who calls himself the Apostle, poured what he said was holy oil on the ground, and the crowd surged forward to touch, hoping to be cured of sickness, according to witnesses and officials. Among the dead, 5 are said to be children. 16 others were injured in the incident. Pastor Boniface Mwamposa has been drawing huge crowds by promising prosperity and cure of disease to worshippers who walk on what he described as blessed oil during his church services.
Leo ni siku ya kanyaga mafuta. Kwa mujibu wa neno la Mungu kwamba unapokanyaga mafuta katika kitabu cha Kumbukumbu la Torati, number 1 unabarikiwa kwa uzao, number 2 unapata kibali, number 3 miguu yako inakuwa na viatu vya chuma na shaba.
Tanzania's Interior Minister George Simbachawene said Mwamposa had been arrested. He added that the government will review the Associations Act with the intention of strengthening the requirements to register as a church. He accused the church of not taking enough precautions and violating the terms of its permit for the meeting, which ran 2 hours later than planned. Tanzania has seen an increase in the number of prosperity gospel pastors in recent years who promise to lift people out of poverty and perform what they call miracle cures.
What a Sunday, and it's time for our first breather, but still ahead. Early learning begins before birth. NTV's Sharon Baranga takes us to the special classes in Samburu for the expectant mothers. Our special feature coming right up.
Your multi-bet is on its way to hit the bullseye. Oh, you lose one match, but only in Mozart. Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
grease their palms, give them some money for information.
We are from Colombia. I'm Camilo, he's Alejandro, and you are watching Top Story.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Did you know that your intelligence and development can be traced back to activities you were exposed to right from the time you were in your mother's womb? Did you also know that education does not start when a child enrolls to an early childhood and development education centers, but it all begins when they are conceived in the womb? NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga brings you the womb classroom in Samburu County that will answer these questions and more.
There is a different kind of school and teaching taking place in Samburu County. It is an all-woman class, and all the students are mothers-to-be. A few kilometers from Maralal town is a silent village whose efforts at ensuring they safeguard the future of their generations continues to ring louder and louder with each passing month. A new curriculum of motherhood has been introduced here, and it has been embraced by many.
Habari mama. Nzuri. Kwa mzima?
Helen Letingiso, an expectant mother of 4, hails from Partuk. She is about to be recruited as a student in the womb classroom, which takes place at a local dispensary about a kilometer from her home.
Hapa ndo nyumbani?
Hapa ndio nyumbani.
Karibu. Asante.
The class has 270 students on a good day, and the numbers are growing.
Ningependa kukufundisha ama kukueleza vile unavyotunza mtoto wako akiwa tumboni.
Ndio.
Vile unavyomtunza, vile unavyomweka, vile unavyomlelea. Maana inastahili hata ulelee mtoto akiwa tumboni. Uweze ongoja ati umzae ndio uweze kumlelea. Ukiwa sasa mjamzito, mtoto anategemea kenye unakula. Ndio apate hata yeye kulishwa akiwa tumboni. Ukiwa mjamzito hufai ufanye kazi mingi, kazi nzito. Inafaa tu ukae, yani urelax tu. Uwe tu uko free. Unaweza shika mtoto wako akiwa tumbo, maana ako uwai na anasikia. Unaweza bendua hata kushika ile na mkono ama kumuimbia ile, maana anasikia ako uwai.
Unaweza jimbia mtoto pia kwa tumbo?
Unaweza. Maana kwa ile harakati hapo, kwa ile wakati anacheza pale, unaweza mshika na umuimbie pia. Atasikia na hata atafurahia, utasikia atacheza kwa ile nguvu akifurahia. Una sio kitu kigeni. Ni ile tu unajua watu wengine down Kenya wanajua hizo mambo yote, lakini sisi hapa Samburu tukiambiwa kitu kama hiyo unaona kama ni mshangao. Saa zingine unasikia anakukanyanga. Ukimshika hivi unajua anasikia anatulia. Kwa hivyo unafaa umshike mtoto wako yani kwa hizo njia.
The practical lessons have a design where there is a step-by-step curriculum for each stage of a child's life, starting from the time they are in the womb, a stage that is often ignored.
Tuimbe kaimbo kamoja tu umfurahishe na hata umshike tu hivi. Nashe baba like tare doga isho nashe baba like tare doga isho nashe. Sunana na chesa tukimwimbia na chesa anafurahia.
Mtoto leo kwa kinibariki naye atakuwa anjabu kwa sababu hakuna yangu asao imbiwa kiwa kwa tumbo.
Na pia wakati mwingine hata kama uimbi unafaa tu mguseguse hivi. Sasa unajua saa zingine mtoto wa tumbo anajisahau, analala sana. Analala sana. Sasa saa zingine hata kama muimbi unamwamsha tu acheze.
Unlike the traditional classes, this one thrives on practical lessons. There are no examinations, but the results at the end of the course are evident when the child is born. The benefits of the lessons are also lifelong.
Hii mafunzo tunafunzwa tunaishukulia ni ya umuhimu sana. Nimejua kumwimbia mtoto akiwa kwa tumbo, hiyo sijuangi. Nimejua kugusagusa mtoto wakati ya stress ndio nijue kama ako sawa. Nilifurahi sana kwa sababu wakati nilikuwa nafunzwa kumwimbia mtoto nilisikia tu mtoto amecheza kwa tumbo.
Tunafunza mingi sana, maana tunafunza immediately tu anapojijua kwa mjamzito aende kliniki. Na vile anavyo akipata yule mtoto ajipange. Asitegemee mzee sana, awe mama mjanja kwake, awe akifisha kitu yake kidogo, anunue tunguo yake kidogo, ili anapofika ile wakati wa kujifungua asiwe na matatizo mengi. Awe mtu ambaye ako anajua usafi ya kwake. Pia mambo ya nutrition tunawafunza. Naambia anapojifungua hiyo mtoto anafaa anyonye kwa miezi 6 ile. Asimpe chochote. Maana matiti ya mama tunawaambia kwamba kama ni maji ndio mtoto anahitaji, iko kwa hiyo maziwa ya mama. Kile yote ambayo unakula kisuri iko kwa hiyo maziwa.
The content of their classwork varies. It touches on different topics, starting from the first day when a woman realizes they are with child.
Umuhimu nimepata mafunzo ni sifanye kazi ngumu. Ni nikikula vizuri na ile chakula inanipea nguvu.
Partook Dispensary is the physical address of the womb classroom.
Mimi nilimgusagusa tu hivyo nikasikia ameamka na anacheza.
Some of the women like Letingiso who are visited and taught from their homes by community health volunteers are required to share their new acquired knowledge with the rest of the class when they are in session. This helps them retain what they were taught and at the same time pass the knowledge to their classmates. They normally have a class every fortnight.
If an expectant mother sings or talks or speaks to a baby, unborn baby, while still in the womb, that it will make a big significant in the growth of that child while still in the womb. For cognitive stimulation for a child to develop, we focus 0 to 5 years, not only just the 9 months. This makes actually a child to be very alert and always very active.
Medical personnel and community health volunteers say an unborn child can recognize its parents' voice, which is one of the many reasons as to why mummies and daddies are advised to engage with their babies while they are still in the womb.
Vile tunavyowafunza ama vile tunavyowaeleza vile ya kucheza na watoto wao wakiwa tumboni ama kuongea na watoto wao wakiwa tumboni, wengi wametuambia wanapozaa mtoto wake anamjua. Anampata kwa ile, anaelewa mama yake kwa ile haraka.
And there is a striking difference between a child who has been engaged with right from the womb and one who wasn't.
Unapata yule mtoto mama yake atakapomchukua ama analala kwa ile muda mrefu sana mpaka mama yake amchukue amshike. Lakini kwa huyu ambaye tumemfunza mama na amejua jinsi ya kumchezeza ama kumweka, iko na utofauti. Maana yule mtoto ako sharp, anajua sauti kwa haraka, mpaka hata ile kulelea kwake kukua mkubwa. Utapata hata mtoto atakapoenda shule akili yake tu ni tofauti. Anashika vitu kwa haraka, masomo yake sio mbaya, ana perform vizuri. Sasa zingine hata unaweza mama ametoka dispensary sama huko referral ni distant wafike. Sasa unaweza kuta ametembea the whole way, ameenda huko amerudi amechoka. Sasa zingine tunamwambia ukifika umechoka, hata unaweza mwambia mzee akushike ile tumbo ile. Kuna wenye wanafanya hivyo. Wengine wanakataa, unajua kwa desturi yetu ya Kisamburu, wanasemanga wasee, hawaletangi wasee karibu sana. Na siku hizi hata tunawaelimisha wakienda clinic wafuatane na wasee wao. Lakini unapata wengine tu wanaona ile haya kufuatana na mzee wake kwenda clinic, ama wanaona haya mzee wake kumshika. Lakini kwa vile sasa tumeanza kuelimisha na kuambia, tunaona wana improve. Wengi wetu hatujuangi vile kushika mtoto. Unaweza hata kaa chini mtoto anasimama na kunyonya. Mwingine anaweza mguu iko huku chini, Kisha ya mtoto tu ndio iko kwa mguu na anamnyonyesha. Mtoto ako huko na mtoto ananyonya kwa huko. Na wao wanaendelea kufanya kazi yako nyingine.
Women are also taught how to ensure babies latch properly when breastfeeding, as a good latch promotes high milk flow and minimizes nipple discomfort for the mother.
Unaona hapo round mali ya black, unahakikisha imeingia kwa mdomo ya mtoto.
While a poor latch results in poor milk transfer to the baby and can quickly lead to sore and cracked nipples.
Inafaa unaweka mawazo yako yote unapotukaa chini. Uwe tayari. Washa vitu vingine vyote. Nyonyesha hiyo mtoto wako mpaka usikie ameshiba. Akishiba hii nyonyo nyingine, bendusha yeye kwa hiyo nyingine. Makarimba ashe gaya ashe.
Baby's health, emotional responses, mental growth of a child is actually laid down to 9 months. That is between conception and birth. So that is why we introduced the womb classroom to ensure that the children are being taken care of when they are still unborn. We have reached around 270 mothers so far, and we are still having a target that we are going to reach more mothers on this.
The womb classroom has its share of challenges.
Some people, they fear, like when you tell them that a husband must have to come and touch the stomach of a mother because of cultural things.
Scientists say 90% of brain development happens before kindergarten. At birth, the average baby's brain is about a quarter of the size of the average adult brain. Incredibly, it doubles in size in the first year, and it keeps growing to about 80% of adult size by age 3 and 90% nearly full grown by age 5. The first stage of the human brain development, which covers 0 to 10 months, neurons and connections are growing. The mother is advised to stimulate the young developing brain with sounds and sensations.
Fika ile wakati wa kuzaa ama kupokea yule mtoto wako, tayari mind yake iko, yani akili yake inafanya kazi.
The second is from birth to 6 years old. This is another critical stage. Development of voluntary movement, reasoning, perception, frontal lobes active in development of emotions, attachments, planning, working memory and perception all take place here. A sense of self is developing and life experiences shape the emotional well-being. By age 6, the brain is 95% its adult weight and peak of energy consumption. Caregivers need to provide nurturing environment and daily individualized communication. Negative or harsh treatment may come with emotional consequences in the future. From the womb classroom and eventually the child is born, learning does not stop. It continues to the early childhood development education stage. Parents and guardians are still captains at this stage. At Ledero village, Japan, Lesor Dongera is a mother who comfortably makes toys for her children. But this was not the case a few years back. She did not place any importance in making play equipments for her children. She had a change of heart after she was trained and informed on the benefits toys have in the development of her children. Now, she is busy making a toy car using locally available materials while her children look on. Apart from sparking creativity in them, it further cements their bond.
Kama sasa mabol wanajua kujiundia. Kama hizi magari ndogo ndogo hiyo kusukuma ya miti mbili wanajua. Yenye unatengeleza kifuniko kando na kifuniko kando, unaweka miti katikati wanasukuma. Wamama wengi tunajua vile World Vision alikuja kutufunza, tulikuwa wamama 15, lakini sasa wasaidi wa mama 60 wanajua kutengeleza.
We guide parents on how to do, like for example, we go to a school, we train parents on how to make locally toys, play equipments using locally available materials. And even in hospitals, in health facilities, we create a safe play environment in our hospitals to create it more friendly for children.
Si majua tunaokota tu na isi mprodatu isi manguo tunararua nguo zetu tunatengelezea mtoto wako mpira. Kitambo tu tunajua sasa maneno kuosha nini, mausafi nini. Unajua kitambo sasa mtu unachukua tu sufuria na tegeniki kwa moto, naweka chakula kwa moto, unatoa mtoto hata akipupu pale ujui unaokota tu choo unaenda kutupa, hakuna haja tena kuosha mkono. Lakini sasa vile tulianza kufunzwa kwa watoto alikuwa na miaka 2 vile tulianziwa kufunzwa.
The benefits of integrated early childhood development in Samburu, initiated by World Vision, can be traced to this place, Maralal DEB Primary School. This is because the womb classroom is the first classroom that determines whether a child will be a high or low performer.
Very good.
It helps prepare them for formal education.
Very good. Mpigie makofi. Andika yako hapo chini. Very good. Mpigie makofi.
The ECDE class here is typical of similar classes in the country. The lessons are very interactive, and for a child who was engaged right from the time they were in the womb, their grasp of what they are being taught is tremendous. They are also very alert. Play is also given a priority at this stage.
Play is the key stimulating thing in child development, and brain development happens in the first 2 years of life. So it depends on the variety of materials that you provide to the child and the environment itself. So you have to provide a lot of colorful play materials so that this brain is well stimulated to enable the development of the brain for it to be ready for learning. As the child gets to 4, the brain is ready now to accommodate the education in class. And even in ECDs, play is the key methods of learning. So they learn through play. Either in class we have manipulative materials that they handle. As they move out, they also learn through the outdoor learning materials.
In between the breaks, the children also get a chance to play and interact outside their toy room as they bask in the sun. And there are effects exhibited by a child who is not exposed to play.
Play tackles all the aspects of child development, from emotional, social, cognitive, physical. So when a child is not exposed to play, you find that all these aspects of development have not been stimulated well, and this child might not be able to interact well with the other children, and even in the later as they grow, they may not be interact well with the community and the society. At the same time, play also helps in development of physical development of the child, development of the motor skills, fine and gross motor skills, as they handle the materials, the little balls, the bean bags, among other manipulative materials. The fine motor skills develop, and the muscles also develop well. Also the eye-hand coordination develops.
The handiwork of their parents are still visible in the learning environment.
Parental engagement is very, very important to ECD learners. Learning starts from home, so we engage them in material development, and some of those materials are left in school for their learning, so they contribute to the school by providing learning materials, the manipulative materials like bean bags, toy cars, charts, so that they can interact well with the environment, society, and develop holistically.
Unknown to many, education or the learning process of a child begins in the womb, What the child is or is not to be exposed to at this stage has a direct effect on their development and personality. The womb classroom in Samburu is one that is setting the pace and can be replicated throughout the country. Sharon Baranga, NTV, in the county of Samburu.
The womb classroom, a beautiful story, beautifully told, and we've just been schooled. Amazing facts and interesting information there, and I'm sure Sharon Barang has also been informed, and she's learnt a lot, and we'll be watching and to observe whether she's going to be implementing some of those things that she's just told us. But let me just go through Twitter very quickly and just read one or two tweets. The hashtag is the womb classroom. Keep the conversation going. One here from Joylene Lokita says, this is actually a great initiative for expectant mothers. It equips them with vital knowledge that contributes to healthier babies and happy moms. Hashtag the womb classroom. Naitwa Josie at Joe Harper says, now this is so informative. I'm sure a lot of people are still digesting what they've just watched in the last 20 minutes. Governor the Dreamer at Governor 254 says, utilization of professional maternal health services is crucial in improving maternal fetal and newborn health outcomes. Hashtag the womb classroom. Story there by Sharon Baranga. Keep the conversation going. And we still want to take a break, but still ahead in this broadcast.
Some of my cousins and even my friends, even will carry me on the back and will throw us to me, and then we go to the school.
The inspiring story of how Dr. Vitalis Were battled with paralysis invigorated his fight to the top. Stay with us.
Simple little things of life. And I promise if you take the time, you won't be looking for too long before you find this little secret of mine.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Prepare yourself for a new live bet experience. Top minute boosted live bet odds. Mozart, make a decision.
To the out-of-framers, the turtleneckers, the fringe growers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel. Join the millions that have switched to Dettol Even Tone, now also in pomegranate fragrance, a healthier skin for an even better you. Brought to you by the Kenya Consortium of Medical and Health Professionals. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Those encroaching on forests, wetlands and other water catchment areas have been put on notice as the government plans an intense operation to rid the water towers of destructive human activity. Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko issued this warning during this year's World Wetland Day celebrations held at the Yapui Swamp at the heart of Kiptunga Forest in Nakuru County.
Yapui is sputtering to life. Her resilience even in these tough times, guaranteeing the flow of the Mara River and other rivers whose source is here in the Kiptunga Forest in the Eastern Mau Complex. But her survival has not been short of intense community lobbying.
Hii forest ilianza 1990 watu kukata hii msitu kutoka Albago nuko kupanda mpaka hapa juu. Nataka kusema sisi jamii hapa sisi ndio tulirudisha surveyors hapa. Na tulirudisha na mishale. Si hao tulirudi vizuri. Na hii mahali imebaki sisi ndio tulifanya ibaki. Na hii ndio sasa tunasaidia na ndio Kenya mzima inaangalia.
And in the wake of a successful second phase of the Masai Mau eviction, the government machinery is revving to go as it takes the operation to reclaim forests and wetlands to all gazetted water catchment zones nationwide.
Serikali imetangaza kwamba na rais amesema hivi. Because big four agenda ya rais inategemea nini? Maji. Mau ni kionjo. Ni kionjo. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wako kwa misitu, wale wako kwa chemichemi za maji, waanze kufunga vira.
The Iwasongiro South Development Authority has been at the forefront of saving the Yapui swamp, fencing off 6.5 kilometers of this 10-kilometer wetland, planting more than 1,000 bamboo seedlings, and supporting the community with alternative sources of income.
Mto Mara tunajua tukiwa watu wa Kenya ndio inashikilia the seventh wonder of the world, the Masai Mara Game Reserve. Na mito zingine hizo zote zaidi ya 12 ikiwemo zile ambazo zinateremuka kule Kajiado.
Having the national celebrations of the World Wetlands Day here at Yapui in the Kiptunga Forest signifies a new beginning for this wetland should the government go ahead and implement its promise to ensure that this is a gazetted area and an international Ramsar site. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
From drawing the green line to drawing some inspiration in this next story. Paralyzed after a bout of polio, Dr. Vitalis Were Masakwe has risen above that setback in life to the height of his career and academics. He recently graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy in Disaster Management and now works to better the lives of those who are disabled in his home county of Kakamega. NTV's Brenda Wanga reports on the triumph of a disability.
From the comfort of his desk, Dr. Vitalis Masakwe carries out his duties as he has for the last 2 years. He has been serving as a chief officer in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Social Affairs in Kakamega County. His grasp of his subject clear.
The greatest number of people, young people who are at risk are those with zero qualifications. We're not going to school, or we've gone to school to primary, dropped out of school.
Disadvantage in life is a subject he is all too familiar with. A polio attack at the age of 3 left him with disabilities in the legs and partly his hands. His mother was determined to give his child a life as normal as possible.
Very proud woman, despite the fact that she was poor. She will tell you, you can't just sit there and beg from people because you are disabled, you're poor. She will even give me as household chores. When people are planning these traditional potatoes, she also say, this part of yours.
That disability did not cloud his love for education, neither did his poor background.
Sometimes I will go through, there's a river here, there's a stream here. I'll cross here, people will carry me on the back, some of my colleagues, some of my cousins and even my friends, even they will carry me on the back and will throw the results to me, and then we go to the school.
He is now the proud holder of a PhD in disaster management with special focus on the well-being of people with disabilities within disaster contexts. It is a subject he says was inspired by his own situation.
To date, I don't like lazy people. I don't like people just laying about and saying, you find a young man with a big chest, very strong hands, yeah, big eyes. If they look at the devil, do nothing. But he's a beggar.
Vitu mingi sana, especially kimasomo. Hata India nilipeleka college. The nature of my husband being physically disabled, and from what he does, I think the rest of the men can buy a leaf, if not the way he does his thing.
While his personal will carries him forth, he knows only too well that there are others like him in need of that extra help, especially from the government. He says he intends to use his position in society to shine the light on the possibilities that one can achieve, disability notwithstanding. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
5 minutes to 10, still to come. Baked, boiled or fried? Kuwait serves up a swarm as Somalia declares a national emergency over locust swarms.
Betika community is a movement. We started this initiative to support grassroots talent because we want to change and transform lives.
Ball imechange maisha yangu. Ball imefanya nimerudi shule, nimemaliza shule. Hope sana ball itanisaidia.
At Betika we saw the amazing talent that our youth have in football around Kenya, and we said what are the challenges that these teams and these young people are facing, and the most immediate need for them was football kits.
Tumepata uniform safi, tutakuwa tunatumia kwa tournament, so tuko ready kupiga shughuli.
Every winning team will take home a cash prize of 200,000. They get to nominate a community project in their area. Our dream is to see our boys playing in those grand soccer stadiums across the world, and we'll be very proud when we see some of our Betika community players in such tournaments.
Inakwambia bibi kuna mdenge fulani bibi hapo na nywele refu yani. Kuna ngoko fulani bibi amemezali yake hadi. Sasa kama tunaona kutupinya mtu mbao, mimi nimemjenga dhao, gari ilikuwa salasa, akaniambia nimjenge 17 hapa tena 30 yangu.
The way this position is tiring. Nimechoka.
What's that? Ni shosho fulani hapa hivi.
Ati shosho.
Call for long at 1 shilling 50 cents to all networks.
Niangusha pale. By the way,
Katelo.
Dial star 544 hash to subscribe. Telkom, moving with you.
Do you know what makes my cooking fun? It's having a partner who shares my passion for healthy cooking. Avena, the new premium vegetable cooking oil, contains omega-6 and 9 and is fortified with vitamins A and D. Lunch! Thanks, partner. New Avena premium vegetable cooking oil. Now available in all leading stores.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Karibu tena. I'm sure you've just had dinner. If you haven't, how would you like your locust served? Apparently, residents of Kuwait City like theirs boiled, baked or fried. Kuwait has been serving up a swarm for ages, but while locusts, a surprisingly nutritious edible insect, are considered a delicacy by some in Kuwait, others are repulsed by the crunchy culinary offering. Meanwhile, Somalia has declared a national emergency as large swarms of locusts spread across East Africa. The country says the insects posed a major threat to their fragile food security situation.
In parts of Kenya, the locusts are wreaking havoc on farms and destroying livelihoods. But in Kuwait, these swarms of locusts could be manna from above. Here, the insects are a rare delicacy. The locals trap them and package them into neat bags for sale.
We received around 10 to 20 bags. Each bag contains 30 to 40 small bags that contain between 20 to 24 locusts. We sell it at 2 or 3 Kuwaiti dinar.
The locusts are prepared in a variety of ways. While some like them boiled, others fry them, while others like their delicacies baked. But whichever way they are cooked, those who partake of this food attest to its many benefits.
It tastes good. There are those who eat it with sauce. Some prefer it fried with onions, others grill it.
The medicine comes from locusts because it feeds on useful herbs such as cress and fenugreek, as well as other useful foods such as vegetables.
The taste and medicinal value notwithstanding, there are fears that the allure of the locusts as food is waning.
A few eat it now, not like before. Previously, the whole family would eat locusts. I remember when I ate it for the first time. I was 3 or 4 years old. We are used to it. We remember it and we know how it tastes. But our children today reject it and say it is an insect.
Very interesting there. Matumbo locusts. I can imagine if that was a menu in our local vibanda. Oya, nipatie matumbo locusts. Or locust bajia, my director says. Very interesting. I've just seen that it changes color from its brownish color to a very nice reddish color. Looks like seafood. Interesting there. Just thinking how you can marinate that, cook that, boil, fry, whatever it is that you like. But soon, this is going to be a local delicacy. It's time to take another break. Sports is coming up right next with Ida Orenga. Stay with us.
Okash is the fastest and easiest way to apply for short-term loans from your mobile phone. You can borrow up to 50,000 Kenya shillings instantly into your M-Pesa account and become a member of the Okash loyalty program to apply for discounted loans. Okash is an award-winning mobile loan service and is trusted by millions of Kenyans every day. Download the Okash application from Google Play Store and enjoy easy, safe and flexible way to apply for short-term loans. Welcome to the Okash experience.
Welcome to our big family. You see, in this family, we have fun together and we look out for each other because we care. We share whatever we have. We protect and support each other. Welcome home, where we love and care for each other. We're so excited that you're joining us.
Welcome to the new member of our Nivea family. New Nivea Petroleum Jelly Essence, enriched with glycerin for long-lasting moisture and protection.
Umewahi jichanganya ukanunua choko yako ikue alamu, alafu bwana yako akakuja jioni akakula hiyo alamu akaitengeneza kitoweo. Kuna karembo hapa kananiangalia kameshaka, kamecheka mpaka lipstick huko imeisha. Anacheka na mdomo ya chwati.
Avena contains omega-6 and 9 and is fortified with vitamins A and D. New Avena Premium Vegetable Cooking Oil. Now available in all leading stores.
The person you called is not reachable.
I don't know. When in a fly, I wish you could capture that.
One of the sources, I won't mention who, wanted us to grease their palms, give them some money for information.
We are from Colombia. I'm Camilo, he's Alejandro, and you are watching Top Story.
NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Very good evening to you. Time for sports here on NTV. My name is Ida Warenga. And it was a good day in the office for Gor Mahia as the defending champions maintained a top spot with a 3-0 win over Nzoia Sugar. This as Kariobangi Sharks blasted 8 past Kisumu All-Stars in a day that saw 17 goals produced across the 5 Kenyan Premier League games.
New Gor Mahia signing Juma Balinya made immediate impact in the Kenyan Premier League, scoring a brace on his full debut against Nzoia Sugar. The Ugandan opened his account just before the break with a rebound off Samuel Onyango and added a second midway in the second half. Gor Mahia captain Kenneth Muguna put the result well beyond doubt minutes later. With the win, Kogalo maintained top position with 44 points from 18 matches played, while Nzoia are 1 point above the relegation zone.
You have to play with confidence, but you don't have to play overconfident. And, we have to respect the opposition.
They were more superior in terms of decision-making in the box.
Meanwhile, Kariobangi Sharks managed to slightly change their tide this season with an 8-1 thumping of Kisumu All-Stars. The victory sees Sharks leap to 12th with 16 points from 19 games. In other matches, Kakamega Homeboys drew 1-1 with Wazito, 10-man Ulinzi Stars fell 1-0 to AFC Leopards, and Sofapaka and Mathare United shared the spoils 1-1.
Well, it's been a disappointing weekend for the National Sevens rugby team as they finished last in the Sydney Sevens leg of the HSBC World Series. The Shujahs fumbled in their last chance to register a win in Sydney, going down 19-12 to Samoa in the 15th place. Better luck next time, and preparations, I do beg your pardon, continue for the Team Kenya boxing team ahead of the Olympic qualifiers slated for mid-February in Senegal. This as the first 9-a-side rugby league was held in Kenya. Details of these and more in our local sports brief.
The national boxing team have shifted their training camp from Mathare to Nanyuki ahead of the Olympics qualifier in Dakar, Senegal from the 20th to 29th of February. A team of 19 boxers will be in camp before the final selection of 8 men and 5 women is determined.
The main aim ya watu kupelekwa Kananyuki kwanza watu kae mbali na mafamilia zao kidogo, mtu akue focus kabisa.
Na iwapo tutasubiri tupate ufadhili kutoka kwa serikali ndio tuanze kumatayarisha, basi tungechelewa sana. Kwa hivyo kwa sasa bado tunasubiri ufadhili kutoka upande wa serikali, na ni kweli kuwa wametuhakikishia kuwa watatusaidia.
The national shooting team scooped several categories at the International IDPA Championships in Bangkok, Thailand. Captain Sami Onyango won the expert category, while Alikan Keshavije won the sharpshooter category. Abdulakim Daoud, on the other hand, won the marksman category. Kenya was representing Africa and used the competition as a benchmark for the African Championships to be hosted in Kenya in September. Kenya's Munawar Karate Club that won the 16th edition of the JKS Cup Championships in Dubai arrived back home to Mombasa. Kenya garnered a total of 16 medals, 10 gold, 4 silver and 2 bronze. Team captain Labib Said won gold in both the senior men kata and kumite events, while Omar Salim was victorious in the boys 15 years kata and kumite events in the selected results. Hashigas Wolves are the winners of the inaugural Kenya Rugby League Nairobi 9th tournament after thrashing Rhinos 16-0 in the final. The tournament saw 6 teams, 3 from Nairobi and others from Meru, Nakuru and Kisumu compete for the trophy. Plans are to launch an 8-team league in March this year.
An eye-opener for us, knowing that our dream has easily come true.
a few hiccups here and there, but the things that we solved, and we had a really good tournament.
Yeah, Dr. Neil from Australia. He's a chiropractor in town, and he's left most of the games. He's got a big background in rugby league, and we really thank you very much for all you did to us.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
It's great to be out there. Good to see all the players put in all the effort they can. Yeah, it was a great game. A few rules need to be learned, but it's all a learning curve.
Ian Mugo, NTV.
Thanks for that, Ian. Now to tennis, where Novak Djokovic beat Dominic Thiem in a gripping 5-set final to defend his Australian Open crown and win a 17th Grand Slam. The Serb won 6-4, 4-6, 2-6, 6-3 and then 6-4. Particular English Premier League title, their first in decades. That wraps it up on tonight's NTV Sports. 1 week since the NBA legend Kobe Bryant passed, together with 8 other people, including his daughter Gigi Bryant. May their souls rest in peace. I'm handing it over to Dennis.
NTV Sport in association with Mozartbet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Mozart Refund, lose one game, get your cash back. Make a decision. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, very many thanks for watching NTV Weekend Edition. We've covered so much over 1 hour of news. Tomorrow we pick it up again. My sign language interpreter tonight has been David Agundo. My name is Dennis Okari. Have a good night.